Hey guys, Joe Smith here. The steering wheel project, got it upside down with a airbag just loosely in there, not screwed in or nothing. Nothing's plugged in, of course. And got the housing, what Joe Smith calls steering wheel housing. So in the other comments or posts, when Joe Smith's talking about steering wheel housing, that's this piece back here. Joe Smith's got a second one here because this is a non-cruise control housing and the other is a cruise control housing. The difference is it's cut a little bit shorter through here on both sides where the switch is to mount and stick out the sides there, the on-off switch, and then the resume, set, resume, coast, whatever. The truck doesn't have cruise control. Not plan adding cruise control. Never use cruise control. Haven't used cruise control since living in Iowa. In Iowa, yeah, you could use it. You got a 10-mile stretch of flat highway. Goes in a straight line. Set the cruise control and take a nap. But not here, all this traffic, bumper, curves, hills, windy roads, stoplights and all that. No chance to ever use cruise control. We're trying to do LED shift lights on the top of the steering wheel. Joe Smith do another video here showing some of that off, and then going to do heated steering wheel too on. Let's see. Basically where this notch is, that's a factory notch. Up to, so groove Joe Smith made there. That's going to be heated on both sides and then leather wrapped. And got some new leather here. And then the shift lights on the top on the other side. Joe Smith did a separate video with it flipped over. I don't want everything to fall apart here. And then between the two notches on the bottom here. Originally the notches were because they had one piece of leather that went around there, and then this was a second piece of leather. And they just had the leather in here, and then these rubber pieces were a little bit higher to account for the thickness of the leather. Well, Joe Smith Major got a piece where Joe Smith can go ahead and take the leather, wrap it all the way up here, cut the leather, and then run it up into there, and then have it tucked in between the steering wheel spokes and the housing or the airbag on the other side. And then from here to here, I'm going to do this carbon fiber vinyl wrap on the bottom, and then on the top section, that's the same distance. And then the LED lights will stick through the carbon fiber vinyl on the top then. Got little LEDs like this, 4-color LEDs, RGB and white. 5 volts, some people call them neopixels. I think they're actually different than neopixels, but close. And Joe Smith just took a razor knife, utility knife, and carved away all the spokes there, and between the knife and grinder and Dremel, cut trenches for the wires to run down in the side. To see it better over here, it's got some temporary tape holding stuff in place, and Joe Smith would just take some filler epoxy and fill in to smooth it out. Then afterwards, I wrap it with this fiberglass tape that's insulating, or high heat insulating fiberglass tape. And then got some nichrome wire to wrap around it, like 30 gauge nichrome wire, I think it is, to wrap around it, and then cover that up with leather. I got some red nylon thread here to do the baseball style stitching on the around the inside. And got that off Amazon. Got the little sewing kit here off Amazon. Steering wheel came out of the junkyard. Wires from Amazon. LEDs from Amazon. All the test wires and clips and DuPont plugs. Make your own plugs depending on how many wires you need per plug. Got some more LEDs in there, and capacitors, resistors, all that from Amazon. Tape from Amazon, the vinyls from Amazon, and the other, I believe that was from Amazon too. Joe Smith's trying to get all this done, and haven't really got the totals of everything used up, but it's like not going to use a whole $20 kit for that, but the totals of what actually get used, we're looking at about probably $150 budget here to do this heated Arduino controlled RPM shift lights with heated leather wrapped steering wheel, all for hopefully $150 or less. Once Joe Smith gets it done and everything added up. I got the clock spring, of course, is going to fit in around here. Just got some test wires on there. That's not the wires that are going to be used. Going to custom make wires and plugs or whatever. These are just some test wires to see what pins to connect what to and all that, to try things out. Got the rotary encoder just kind of hanging down there. Got measured out to where the Arduino Nano should be able to fit in there. Probably drill 4 holes through the housing and get a little bit longer screws or bolts, whatever you want to call them, and run through the housing. That way it's actually bolted to the housing instead of just trying to glue it. And then the rotary encoder, drill a hole in the housing next to the Nano there to stick the knob through and have it mounted in there. That way when you change the settings or whatever, you just reach to the knob that's underneath the steering wheel there. Got a 7-digit Adafruit display. I was thinking about trying to mount that on the outside top of the housing, but not sure. Might end up having to run wire through the cruise control wiring harness to it and mount it on the dash or steering column or somewhere else. That way you can see what menu you're on and your settings and stuff when you're turning the knob and changing your settings. And also, in case you need to plug it into your laptop to change programming or code or whatever on the Nano, this is micro USB to USB. Got a short male to female extension here, micro USB. That way, once it's mounted in there, Joe Smith can plug this in and then have a little hole. If you, I don't know, phone camera here will focus or not, but there's a little square or rectangle groove that's kind of around the plug there, and then you got a millimeter or two between that little line or groove to the outside edge of the plug. So you only need to have basically the hole on here cut to the size of that line, and then the other extra millimeter or two on the outside of that to that edge can be used for like gluing it like this, but on the inside somewhere. And that way you just got a little micro USB port on the side of the steering wheel, and then you just can plug your other cable in and plug it to your laptop, and don't have to take the airbag out or open nothing up to plug the USB cable into it then. And plus, mounting like that and screwing it to there's like a little reset button on the bottom side there. You can have like a little pinhole. There's a hole in the plexiglass or acrylic housing to hit that reset button. Joe Smith can drill a little pinhole in the steering wheel cover housing to stick something up, paperclip or whatever, to hit that if needed. And of course, right here is where your cruise control horn wires would go through from the other side, outside, front side, to the clock spring. And the clock spring would go up tight against the metal here and cover all this, but Joe Smith had measured and marked that, and that just fits perfectly between the two clearance marks that Joe Smith measured with the airbag and clock spring in. And that way through the cruise control wiring harness, which no cruise control not being used, just using it to run wires through the clock spring and steer column to the dash. And so buck converter, they're called, changes from 12 volt to 5 volt, 15 watt output. So 3 amps max. This will be mounted underneath the dash end somewhere, and then the DC 5 volt will run through the cruise control wiring on the steering column and clock spring out to the pin outs or output pins on the clock spring to the nano there, then into the LEDs. There's, what is it, like 7 wires total on the cruise control wiring, or 6, something like that. I think it's 7, but the one's a ground and grounds to the middle here and doesn't go through the pins, or maybe 2 are. I think there's only 5 that goes through the clock spring pin, so the clock spring got 5 wires, and then ground's already used, grounded to here, so don't have to run a ground wire through the clock spring. So got 5 wires to work with. One's a horn. We'll have one for the 5-volt input. Might have to use one for the Adafruit output. This Joe Smith decides to mount it to the top of this. Right now it's not in any kind of a case or enclosure, it's just a digit and then a little backer circuit board. But the company that makes that little nano enclosure, that was on Amazon, but he had forgot to send the screws that hold it together. And Joe Smith emailed them, and they turned out to be some really nice people. They're like in Washington State, and they make each one to order on their CNC router setup, or that, whatever it is. And then they just, it's like a little mom and pop business. They might have a couple employees and probably do some other stuff too. And that's just a little something extra that they sell on Amazon, and when they get an order, then they'll cut the parts out quick and throw the screws and parts all together in a Ziploc bag and ship them out. But they forgot the screws. They apologized, of course, real nice. Sent a couple emails back and forth. Got the screws to Joe Smith. Joe Smith probably has some screws here, but didn't want to go digging through everything, trying to find the right ones, but probably going after you anyways, get some longer ones to mount it to the housing there. But Joe Smith was thinking if they can make something like that, Joe Smith can take pictures and measurements of the Adafruit 7-digit display, and they could probably make a little acrylic housing for that Joe Smith can mount to the top here somewhere. So, and then of course the rest of the wires going through the clock spring and cruise control wiring harness can then be used for the steering wheel heat system, which talks a little bit more about that in a different video. I was just kind of showing off crazy little ideas Joe Smith came up with here, and trying to make everything hidden and factory and still on as cheap as possible. Once Joe Smith's done with this truck, get in it, think it's just a normal factory truck, and then you start discovering all these hidden features and accessories Joe Smith added. So, it might not be the prettiest and shiniest truck on the outside of the car show, but Would be like the Inspector Gadget truck with all these little hidden accessories that all look factory. Oh, thanks for watching. Joe Smith signing out.